the most out of him while you can. And I think between now and the end of the season, I think he'd be a difference maker for Liverpool.
Well, we are interested in your thoughts on this. Some interesting quotes from Steven Gerrard after the game.
Yeah.
He said that, Arne Slot has made references to breaking down low blocks. He's done that quite a lot this season. Gerrard said he needs to stop mentioning low blocks. Low blocks have been happening against Liverpool since I was playing. That's just the way it is. What do you think of that?
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. I do hear him coming out with this. Don't like teams that play with low blocks. Don't like teams who play direct. Don't like teams who play with long throws. You're telling the opposition, you're giving them a clue what you're unhappy with. Stop mentioning it. Stevie's right. It's always been the case. Certainly when you go to Anfield, they tend to dominate the game. So what are the teams expected to do? Not everyone's going to play like a De Zerbi side and come out and play on the front foot because that's the way he wants to play. Sometimes they're just trying to get a result for themselves, like a Burnley. They're fighting for their lives at the bottom of the Premier League. They're going to sit back. They're going to put bodies behind the ball because they know Liverpool have the threats. If you're playing 1v1 against Liverpool side, invariably you're going to lose the football match because they've got great individual players. So, the opposition are entitled to play whatever they will, however and whatever they like and when they want. And it is nothing to do with Arne Slot. So I think Steve is absolutely right to keep your mouth shut, look after your own team and try and find the solutions to break down the low block.
And if they do, what chance do they have in winning the Champions League? Where would they rank for you in terms of what you think, who can go on and win it?
Listen, if they get all their bodies fit, they're quite healthy at the moment. Konate was missing last night. I thought Gomez come in and done a good job. And they're not a bad side, Marseille. They have got their threats. They've got very experienced players. A lot of players are recognisable to the Premier League as well. I think they've got a chance. I wouldn't rule them out. I wouldn't say they were the favourites to go on and win it, but I think they've been there and they've done it before. They've got the experience to be able to do it. Why would you rule out Liverpool? I don't think you can.
They are unbeaten in 13 in all competitions. Now, Sky Sports have partnered with Finalysis to discover true fan opinion. To have your say on your club, download the Finalysis app now. Scan that QR code for more details. Let's speak to Liverpool fan Lola Katz-Roberts. Good morning, Lola. What did you like about what Mo Salah, what Arne Slot did with Mo Salah?
Morning, Tom. I'm in a really good mood this morning because Liverpool played well. And we did okay against Burnley on the weekend, but I think that was right up there with being our best performance of the season. And Mo Salah's role I think it provided a blueprint. I'm not sure if it's the solution, but I think it was a blueprint of how we can get more out of him, especially when we've got Florian Wirtz in the team. He was much narrower. And the fullbacks were giving us lots of width, and that made much more sense for them. I think the problems have been all over the pitch, not just with Mo Salah, but I think if you take the fullbacks, for example, Milos Kerkez, Premier League Team of the Year last season, has looked like he's been used in a completely different way to how he was at Bournemouth. We know Jeremy Frimpong likes to get out wide. So it felt like it made a lot more sense for them. And then for Salah, he's never been the type of winger to go and get chalk on his boots, but playing narrower allowed him to be much more involved. And I think you guys were talking about it earlier. He's so fit. He's going to be in and around it for 90 minutes, making opportunities, sprinting onto things, in stark contrast, actually, to Hugo Ekitike, who looked exhausted on 60 minutes. So narrower is good. It kept him a lot more involved.
So does Slot deserve the credit for that?
Absolutely. The manager deserves loads of credit. He's conducted himself really well under a lot of pressure. And I know I've come on here and said that, I'm losing my patience slightly. But I think actually the frustration is how well we played last night, what Tim was saying about how we're absolutely contenders to win the Champions League. This is a really good team. You look at the players we signed in the summer, you look at Florian Wirtz, Mo Salah, Hugo Ekitike, with the envy of Europe with the talent we have. And this is the benchmark. You can't just go and play well, once every couple of weeks. You have to go and do it week after week after week. This is Liverpool Football Club.
Lola, it helps when the team come out and play against you and open up the pitch like Marseille did last night. The problem you're going to have is when it goes back to the Premier League, when there's an inferior team fighting to stay in the division and they sit back in that low block, which seems to be the buzzword at the moment for Arne Slot.
Yeah, even Hugo Ekitike has been posting about it on his Instagram, that his nemesis is a low block. And yeah, there's no doubt about it. We've really struggled this season unpicking low blocks. And the games that we've performed the best, Aston Villa, Real Madrid, and Marseille, have all been games in which teams have come out and given us a bit of space to work in. I do think, for what it's worth, we will get that against Bournemouth on Saturday. But I agree with you, Tim. We obviously, we've got ambitions to finish in the top four. We had ambitions to finish higher than the top four at the start of the season, and we haven't managed to beat any of the promoted sides at home. And that just shows the problem, doesn't it? With
what is success, Lola, between now and the end of the season?
I mean, it pains me to say I obviously have given up on winning the title. We've got to finish in the top four, top five, get Champions League football. But I'm ambitious, and I want to give you guys a world exclusive this morning on Sky Sports News. I think number 7 is coming home to Liverpool, and we will win number 7 in Budapest. So that is what success looks like, Tim, winning the Champions League.
Yeah, well, that certainly would be a success. Okay, Lola, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Now, here are your sporting headlines this morning. Manchester United have fallen to 8th in the Deloitte Football Money League. That's their lowest position ever. Liverpool are the highest earning English club for the first time. A lot more on that later, by the way. The thrilling race for automatic promotion in the Championship continues as Middlesbrough moved back up to 2nd after coming from behind to beat Stoke 2-1. Manchester United are through to the Women's League Cup final for the first time by making the most of a goalkeeping error to beat Arsenal 1-0. Chelsea won by the same scoreline against Manchester City to reach the final for the 7th year running. Lando Norris says he feels ready for his title defence ahead of the new Formula One season, while McLaren boss Andrea Stella says the team will attempt to make managing competition between their drivers simpler in 2026. And Novak Djokovic won his 399th Grand Slam match over Italian qualifier Francesco Maestrelli to propel him into the Australian Open 3rd round. Right, coming up this hour, Chelsea win in the Champions League, but what does Liam Rossini need to achieve before the end of the season to convince the fan base he's the right man? Jean-Philippe Mateta has told Crystal Palace he wants to leave, so should they cash in on their striker now? And Harry Kane scored twice for Bayern. We're debating whether winning the Champions League for Bayern would result in a Premier League return for the 32. Fair play to him, there's no way I'm presenting topless. Well, Roman is joined by former Newcastle boss Alan Pardew and former Aston Villa midfielder Lee Hendry. There'll be also interviews with Jurriën Timber and Brian Mbeumo. That's on Premier League Friday from 5 p.m. Welcome back to Sky Sports Fan Club. Here's what's coming up on the show. Victory for Chelsea in the Champions League, but what does Liam Rossini need to achieve before the end of the season to convince the fan base? Jean-Philippe Mateta has told Crystal Palace he wants to leave. Should Palace cash in? Now, the 2 goals for Harry Kane. If he wins the Champions League, will he return to the Premier League in the summer? The Deloitte Money League sees Liverpool move above Manchester United for the first time ever. So we're going to be debating who is the bigger club. Anthony Gordon scored again in the Champions League. Should he start for England at the World Cup? And what about Harvey Barnes? And we'll also be putting your questions to that smiling man there, Tim Sherwood. Right, get your voice notes in particular, but you can also leave a message or a video on WhatsApp. The number is 07514 917 075, or scan the QR code on the screen now. That takes you straight there. On the socials, use the hashtag SkySportsFC.